All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Art Nutter. I am here and very happy to speak with you regarding TAEUSworks, the cornerstone of most of TAEUS's work over the last quarter century, as well as the foundation of a new patent licensing system called patent books. And so thank you, all of you, for attending here. I'm very pleased with the volume of attendees that we have here. So we're about ready to get going, and so I'm ready to show you what's going on here in patent books. Okay. As I mentioned, I started TAEUS about 25 years ago, 1992 actually, and TAEUS is an acronym for Take Apart Everything Under the Sun. Don't know if you knew that or not, but glass of single malt scotch one night, had to come up with a good name. That one fit. And TAEUS, over like I said, quarter century now, has really been fortunate to speak and work with some of the best intellectual property minds on the planet. Our first customer was AT&T, and shortly followed by IBM and Xerox and British Telecom and Siemens and Apple and Motorola and Interdigital and all kinds of different names. And quite often they would ask the same thing. Hey, we've got lots of patents in our portfolio. We're making money off some, but we've got a whole bunch of other ones. Can you tell us what are our good patents? And we said, sure. And so through that process, we decided that we would come up with some metrics, because it was the same thing. You had to read the patents, obviously, but we had to, kind of put them into categories. And it was our skills were put to the test really when we did the Xerox semiconductor portfolio, because the guys at Xerox said the same thing. They said, tell us what are our good patents. And we said, well, okay, here's the good ones. And they said, well, why? Why are these good? I said, well, because we're smart people. And they said, that's not good enough. And so I challenged the team to really articulate what those metrics were, what was going through their minds to indeed christen a patent as being a good patent. And so that was the first version of what we now call TAEUSworks. Over these last couple of decades, we've been asked to provide even more clarity on TAEUSworks and to provide more information on both the economic as well as the legal characteristics of a patent. Because, of course, lawyers read patents all the time, and they form opinions about those patents based on their frame of reference, and that is obviously one of the law. And of course, damages experts do the exact same thing. They read a patent and they're formulating opinions as well from their frame of reference. And so all of those opinions are valuable, but yet they need to be codified and merged to really identify how what patents really are good. And throughout this time, we're trying to get to the truth. The truth is, what is a good patent? And the other aspect of it is when we think about products that TAEUS would take apart, looking for other people's patents or the use of other people's patents, we'd take that product apart and we'd see all kinds of other people's patents in that product. And I think to myself, gee whiz, as we're taking these things apart, is this company's, the manufacturer of the product that we're taking apart, or the service that we're disassembling to see, what aspects of our clients' patents are being used in the delivery of this service? Is this company really crooked? Are these guys really stealing all this stuff? In fact, it's not true. They're not stealing this stuff. It's just there's no real way to get paid. And yet, when you go to court, we deal with this situation where, you know, the patents that we had investigated and put together claim charts on, the attorneys get up there and do their little dance, trying to convince that jury or that judge that their patents are the only ones that make this product profitable. And in fact, that's flat just not true. And so I'm really focused here on really identifying some truth, because commercially successful products and services throughout the world use tens of thousands of patents, and in some cases, hundreds of thousands of patents. And it's virtually impossible for a product manufacturer or a service provider to even know which patents they're using, because they have no idea which ones their designers and system architects may have selected. In fact, they don't even know, the designers and architects don't even know themselves where their ideas come from. And so when we present to a jury that this handful of patents, I don't care how many they are really the ones responsible for this, we are obscuring the truth from that jury and arguably getting over on them. And I don't think that's right. And further, when you take a look at those 100,000 patents, the 10,000 patents, 50,000 patents that might be used in a commercially significant product or service, which of those are really good? Really good. What are they driving at? Take a look. I mean, if we think about just a cell phone, look at all these really good companies: Kodak, HTC, LG, Apple, Samsung, Microsoft, Oracle, Gemalto. All these companies are really good companies. I've met these people. I know people at every single one of these companies, and they're good friends of mine. And they're not crooks. They don't steal things, despite the allegations to the contrary. The fact of the matter is, and I'm dealing with the truth. One cannot make a product today without using the inventions of many other people in that same field. And so, really, what are we trying to do? We can't be fighting in the courts over these things. We kill ourselves. What we need to do is bring some justice to all this, okay? And if we can, let's just make it easier. And this presentation is not about a patent book, because hopefully you know what a patent book is already. And if not, go to patentbooksinc.com and you'll find out. But we're trying to bring some justice to this whole world, because indeed, these companies are not dishonest. There is just simply no way for them to be honest and to pay for all those inventions that they may or may not have used in their product. So, and further, when you take a look at all those patents that might be used in a product, some of them are better than others, and they ought to be compensated appropriately as well, because the world is not flat in terms of the value of individual inventions, the value of property, the value of intellectual property. None of those things are flat in terms of their value. Some of them are better than others. And this is where TAEUSworks comes in. TAEUSworks is a merger of the opinions of multiple people from multiple vectors. And I'm talking about engineers up here in the technology space. Their opinions are extremely valuable. And I emphasize opinions, because whether we like it or not, an individual engineer, and forgive me, women who are tuning in here today, but because I didn't have an icon of a female engineer, but engineers come from their unique backgrounds, and whether they like it or not, you have unintentional biases based on your own career history. If you work for company A, you learned how company A's products were designed, how they're built, how they're manufactured, how they're sold. You know company A's products pretty darn well. Somebody from company B may do things completely different. You may be in the same field, but you're going to have a different experience, different knowledge. You may say, oh, well, this patent here We tried that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And company A guy may not know that. And company B guy may say, this patent's just not very good because we tried this, we know it, and in fact, they got a patent on it. I can't even believe that. And some of those patents are like that. The patent office does their best job, but if somebody does try it and can't figure out a way to make it work, they may score that very, very low. On the other hand, company A guy is blind to that fact. He says, well, it sounds like a good idea, may score it pretty high. Well, in the TAEUSworks operations and methodology, this group of engineers has to come to a consensus. This is not an average of their opinions. It's a consensus opinion, and they have to sell each other on this opinion so that the actual TAEUSworks technical opinion that comes together here is accurate. The same thing has to be done with the damages experts. Is this patent, does this invention affect a significant portion of the value of the product or an insignificant portion of the value of the product? And the lawyers take a look at this as well. Has it ever been tried? Has a patent ever been litigated? Has it ever been challenged, re-examined? What's the IPR status on this thing? Has the PTAB gotten a hold of this thing yet? Okay, all of these things are important from the lawyer's perspective. And again, the same unintentional biases can occur depending on the clients that lawyer A may have represented versus the clients that lawyer B may have represented. But we structure the TAEUSworks inputs, the variable inputs, in each of the three vectors, the legal, economic, and the technical areas, in such a way that all of these respective individuals provide their opinions in here in this consensus form, and the program manager, of course, forces the consensus opinion to occur. So then the legal scores are merged with the economic scores, are merged with the technical scores, and the actual TAEUSworks number comes out, because this makes a big difference in where that patent is positioned in the patent book revenue distribution model. And again, this isn't a patent book presentation, but for those of you that don't know what a patent book is, it's an aggregation of all the patents that may be used in a commercially significant product or service, such that that product or service manufacturer / supplier can license all of them with a single click, a single price, and then we at Patent Books distribute the money according to the quality of the patents contained in the patent book. And indeed, I might add, we came up with this revenue distribution model based on our experience, actual experience over a quarter century of evaluating these big companies' patent portfolios. And I'm talking everybody from national labs at Sandia and Los Alamos and the Naval Weapons Surface Center to Fraunhofer's, to like I said, Xerox, IBM, Apple, Motorola, Qualcomm, Huawei, you name the company. I mean, a big company, we've probably done it. Microsoft, IBM, all these, the spectrum of quality in all these portfolios is virtually the same. The really good patents are a small sliver, and we call that tier 1, and we say that's 2% of the patents, and those guys get half of the money that we distribute. The next tier is a bit larger, that's 13%. Those guys uniformly share in 35% of the income, and then the remaining tier 3 patents, and this is true of every single person's patent portfolio on the planet, including Dean Kamen's. These patents are not commercially significant. However, they're not worth less. So we allow them to uniformly share in 15% of the income that we distribute. Because in fact, you're on our models, when we do this distribution like this, the even tier 3 patents that aren't generally, TAEUSworks is not performed on them, because when they are, if it's done internally by the patent owner, and they discover, it's just not really strong and illegal, thing, or one of these criteria just doesn't work out well for them, so they just don't do them. They don't evaluate them at all. But they put them into the patent book because this is a function of time. A new invention just may be new. It's newly disclosed to the public. Nobody has picked it up. Nobody has incorporated it into their products yet. But yet, at least this revenue distribution here will probably cover its maintenance fees. So keeping it alive is actually not a bad thing, because in fact, and I can tell you lots of stories about this. We were working for a electronics company, system manufacturer, that had tremendous patents in car alternators. Okay, now the company wasn't building car alternators anymore. They're actually building cell phones. You might be able to figure out who it is. There's not many companies that fit that profile. But they came to us and said, "Boy, what do you think about these car alternator patents?" They're coming up for renewal, and they wanted to see if they were worth renewing. And so we looked at them and said, "Gee whiz, these are great. I mean, every car alternator uses these things." Well, the guy got all excited. We were ready to launch a new campaign, and in fact, the reality was somebody else had gotten a hold of the responsibility for licensing or making the decisions on renewing these patents, and had decided to not renew them. And so the patents had gone into the public domain, and sure enough, this company was without the opportunity to make literally hundreds of millions of dollars off licensing that car alternator patent portfolio. But see, because it was towards the end of those patents' life, their renewal fees were kind of expensive, and somebody made the economic decision just kill the patents, and that was a shame, just a real shame. Anyhow, probably want to know what these evaluation criteria truly are, and I'm about ready to show you. You should write this number down, everybody that's tuned in here. This numeral 1, lowercase s as in Sierra, and uppercase Romeo, uppercase Oscar, uppercase Echo, uppercase Romeo, uppercase Victor. Let's just go see what that is. So I'm going to show you another slide here. Okay, this is the patent book's TAEUSworks acceptance rejection criteria. For one is this, and I'll skip this patent book stuff here at the front because this is whether or not it goes into the patent book or not, and we'll go right to the evaluation criteria itself. Okay, the technical criteria here, these are the ones that are first. Look at these things. Is the patent actually observable, or is the invention that's covered by the patent actually observable? There are, because we've got lots and lots of years and experience reverse engineering things. Some things you cannot see even after you reverse engineer. You just can't do it. There's no way of reverse engineering something. And I illustrate that quite often with the example of a cake. If you had a patent on a cake, and your patent had to do with you pour the batter into the pan and then you bake it, and then you put some icing on top of it, and the cake's done. And if your patent covered those elements, you could take a cake after it was out of the pan, cross-section it, and you could show the pan, the cake, and icing. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But if you had a patent on baking a cake, it says, okay, you need this many cups of flour, this many eggs, this much other water, and other things that you put into your secret recipe for your cake, and you patented that. If I get your finished cake out of the oven, I cannot reverse engineer that. There's nobody that can reverse engineer that, because there are chemical changes, chemical processes that occur in the baking process that change things so that you can't reverse engineer it. So that's an example of a patent that would not be valuable from a technical perspective in a thing. And the low scores here are 1s, the high scores being 5. So in observability, if you can see it, you can read a data sheet, well, that's a pretty high score. Okay. Ease of investigation, and again, other examples. Ease of investigation or observability, these sometimes counter one another. For instance, in observability, if if a guy has a patent on a dozen transistors wired up in a particular way to make an operational amplifier, pretty straightforward, pretty observable. You can actually see that. So that would be positive answer can be obtained via reverse engineering. That's 4. It's a high score. Okay, but yet if those transistors are embedded in an Intel microprocessor, folks, that's very, very, very hard to reverse engineer. Not that it's impossible, it's just very, very hard. Okay, and so it gets a low score. And those two things oftentimes will balance each other out. Other things in here, you can read this stuff. I'm not going to read them to you, but go to this web page, and click on this link and see what these criteria are. Okay, then you take a look at what we ask the economists to look at. Okay, value contribution, product differentiation, replacement costs, additional R&D, stuff like that, market size, duration of the product sales, product life cycle kind of stuff. Okay, where is it in the product life cycle? Is it adopted in primary and secondary markets? Okay, these kinds of criteria are what the damages experts look at. And again, these kind of criteria and their scoring is factored in. Then you look at what the lawyers look at. Okay, what's the file history look like? Honestly, if there's an extensive file history on here, it kind of hurts the patent. Is the spec definite and enabling? Okay, again, subjective criteria here, but extremely important when one considers the commercial significance of a patent. And I say commercial significance, can you sue somebody on it? Okay, this is a big one here, divided infringement. Does this cover one company's products or something else? And so these are scored. This is how you go about doing this thing. And here's the flow chart and all this. And so that's what it is. So I go back here then to our webinar, and we say, okay, what's next? That's the criteria. Let me show you what the output of something that's here. We did this on the 850 patent. The 850 patent is owned by a company named Amaranth. The CEO is Mac McNally. I've spoken with him. This patent has to do with online restaurant ordering. Many in our country, in the United States, would call this gentleman a patent troll because he has 6 patents, and he has tried to get Domino's, California Pizza Kitchen, White Castle, and so forth to pay him for the use of his very good patent, but they don't want to do that. He's got 6 patents, and so what does he have to do? He's got to sue him. So he gets branded as a troll, and that's unfair. Because here, if we take a look at actually when we looked at his patent, we paid all those people, all those 10 people. That's 9 subject matter experts, 3 legal, 3 economic, and 3 technical. We paid all these guys, and then a program manager over top of them, okay, to really identify the value of this patent. And we said, all right, let's see what it is. So let's see it. You can check this out on the web. Again, pull down this link, and this is what the link shows. This is the evaluation. Okay. It's a pretty complicated thing. There's 25 pages in this report. Okay. Here's the tombstone information, and strong in technical strength, the market strength, and legal. So this is engineering, economists, and lawyers who took a look at it. We've got a 100,000 point scale for the simple reason that we have probably about 10,000 patents in the online restaurant ordering patent book. So again, here you see the opinions, and I will tell you that the opinions here were provided by the Global IP Law Company, and that's out of Chicago. And they evaluated this patent, and they had the 3 people inside. Okay, and you see, here's one that says, okay, has one of the more claims been found invalid? Yes, found the 850 patent invalid. They got so here's the drama behind it. Okay, so it's in here, and this does indeed affect the score. Okay, But look down here in the criteria, in the scoring here. You see a lot of high numbers here. Greens here, possibility commercial use, you betcha. This is widely used on many things. Technology is very observable. It's very easy to use and very easy to investigate. Okay, so a lot of green, some oranges in here. Okay, that's on the technical side. There's the 5 down here. Is commercialization? Is it tough to do this? No, very easy to do actually. Okay, market criteria. Again, strong numbers. Again, greens and replacements 4 or 5. Very few alternatives here to doing this. This is a very well written patent. Okay, and here you see the market size. Look at this: McDonald's, Yum Brands, Chipotle. Lots of big money. $684 billion industry. Of course, that's for the whole industry. That's not the online ordering stuff that you can read in here. And is it likely to continue? Yeah, forecasted. It looks like in a restaurant industry, we'll even tell you online restaurant ordering is going to continue to grow. Okay, it's still going here. There's only one red one here. Okay, is this likely to be integrated into other products outside the target industry? Unlikely, because if you read the actual patent, it's talking about restaurants. And so you can't say that Macy's or United Airlines is using this patent, because it's not written that way. That's a different technology. So anyhow, it's only got one low score. Then we take a look at the legal. Again, a lot of green. This is very polarizing though. And this is the sad thing. There's a lot of information here in the legal review that is here because the patent was challenged in court. Had Mac McNally and Amaranth just simply put this patent into the patent book, these court challenges would have never occurred. They would have never had information to challenge it, because it would have been bundled up with 10,000 other patents. And the subscriber to the patent book would have just said, okay, this is a good deal, and I'll pay my IP bill like I'm paying my electric bill or my water bill. And so these deficiencies here, because it talks about Alice and all kinds of other limiting things here, it's just a shame. So these scores then come up and actually turned out to be pretty good. So I wanted to just simply illustrate to you what the output of this is. And yes, it is 20K. What we're talking about here is we're trying to bring peace to our world. The conflict that exists today with patent litigation and patent licensing is just horrendous, because there's no easy way to license all the patents that you really need to produce your product. And again, going back to what I said to begin with, we're trying to just get to the truth. The truth of the matter is commercially successful products and services use lots and lots of patents. And some of them are better than others. And the ones that are better than others need to be paid better than others. We do that by TAEUSworks. And the only way you're talking about making wise decisions is getting good minds from each of the 3 different perspectives that really qualify whether or not a patent is any good, to put their thoughts together so that the patent is positioned appropriately across the scale of the other good patents in that place. And of course, you got to pay them. And then honest companies can be honest. Again, thank you everyone for attending. And if you'd like more information, we'd love to help you out. Go to TAEUS.com, patentbooksinc.com, either of those sites. TAEUS is old school licensing. We help with that, portfolio mining, all that. Patent Books Inc. is a new platform. If you have patent books, and if you have patents in any of probably a half a dozen different technical areas that we've launched patent books on already, that's biometric identification, LED light bulbs, LCD display technologies, geolocation, cloud computing, and biometric identification, let us know. We'll be happy to help you out. Thank you, and we hope you have a blessed and Merry Christmas.